Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I would like to welcome you each into our kitchen where we're going to have fun making a cake that I haven't been able to make for a very long time. And you betcha it's getting made now. It is an old-fashioned, you could either call it a Swiss roll cake, a jelly roll cake. It goes by many names, but this one, oh, it's dear to my heart. It's a homemade gingerbread Swiss roll cake with a cream cheese chocolate apple butter filling. Oh, yes, yes, I have been wanting to make this cake for many years. Now I can. So, there's a lot of steps to the process. It doesn't take long. It's not hard, but it is homemade, and most of it is homemade by me. So, let's have fun and get busy making this absolute delicious treat that will scent your house beautifully, because y'all, it's holiday time. It is time to fire up the ovens. Not that, that doesn't stop me from firing up the oven year round, but here we go. Let's have some fun. Now, first things first, we have to prepare our pan. Now, mine is a larger jelly roll cake pan or Swiss roll cake pan. This one is a 17 and a half by 12 and a half. There is a smaller pan. You want them to have deep sides. So this is for the larger pan, not the smaller pan. This is real butter. You want to butter your pan very, very well. And an old trick is save your butter wrappers. You can put them in a baggie in your refrigerator. Once you get enough in there, you can move it to your freezer. Yes, butter freezes very well. Also, before you start doing this, you want to heat your oven to 375. And make sure your rack is in the halfway position of your oven. Now, for those who like to use non-stick spray, you could use that. But the butter makes everything better, y'all. Okay, and there's still butter on that, so I'll put it back in my butter bag here in a bit. Okay, now that it's good and buttered, you're going to want to use parchment paper. And me and this parchment paper holder don't see eye to eye. Nope. I'll save that for another time. You want to make sure that the bottom of your pan is covered. Now, hopefully, it'll work right this time. Sometimes it's just best to use scissors. Okay, there we go. You want to try to make sure that there's no wrinkles. Or air pockets. And just for good measure, I'm going to wipe parchment paper a little bit with the butter. Okay, I'm going to set this aside and get all the ingredients ready, and I'll bring y'all back here in just a little bit. Now the fun begins. Now, this is 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I know you're wondering why so little. It's going to be a thin cake that rises. In your first bowl, you're going to need 3 bowls. In your first bowl, 1 cup of flour, all-purpose flour. This is the magic bowl. You can call it heavenly or heavily, either one. This has a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of ginger, a half a teaspoon of ground allspice, a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of nutmeg, a half a teaspoon of cloves, and a teaspoon of salt. This is what makes the cake the cake. This is partially what makes your gingerbread gingerbread. And to me, gingerbread needs to be heavy on spices, earthy spices. You want to mix that in really well. Oh, I wish y'all could smell this. It smells so good. I wish you could have been here when I was fresh grinding the spices. Oh. Okay, and like I always do, the recipe will be in the description box below this video. On to the next bowl. I want 2 tablespoons of melted and cooled butter, real butter. I prefer to use salted butter. It just, to me, has more flavor. But you can use unsalted butter if you need to. Then we're going to go for 3/4 of a cup of good, thick, dark, rich molasses. And I try not to waste any. Oh, that smells good. And don't worry, none of that'll be wasted. That'll be took care of later. Alright, we're going to set this aside for just a minute, but not far. In this bowl, I am going to separate 4 large eggs. I want the whites in a separate bowl. And don't forget, save your eggshells. Your egg yolks are going into your molasses mixture, and the egg whites are going into this bowl. Okay. Set that aside a minute because we're going to use those. You want to make sure that your egg yolks and your butter is incorporated very well into your molasses mixture. Oh, I wish y'all could smell this. Just wait. You will. Alright, we're going to set that aside. And this bowl, of course, is the 4 egg whites and 3/4 cup of sugar into the egg whites. And we're going to whip these, beat them until they are stiff peaks. Hold on just a minute. And of course, you can do this in a stand mixer with the whisk attachment or with a handheld blender. I don't have one of those. I've got one of these and it should work fine. It's going to take about 5 minutes to work this, and I'll bring you back as soon as I get. You want to make it stiff, whip it till it's stiff peaks. I'll bring y'all back. Alright, I got them whisked as best as I could. There is no peaks in there. It is light, fluffy, and airy. If I had some cream of tartar, it might have worked. I am not going to keep whisking it. So if you do, please use a stand mixer or a hand mixer and you'll get your peaks. So with that being said, onwards. You want to do half the molasses mixture and half of the so-called stiff peak eggs. Oh, I wish y'all could smell this. Now that all the flour is incorporated, I'm going to use a spatula to incorporate everything else. Oh, that molasses smells so good, y'all. We'll make sure there's no lumps or anything. Now, of course, if you had nice stiff peaks, this last addition, you're going to want to fold gently in it into the batter. But I'm just rolling with it because, yeah. I'm just going to stay positive that it's going to turn out just perfectly. At times it just sucks when you don't have what you need. And you want to make sure you don't see any white swirls of the egg whites. Okay, that is mixed nicely. Alright, I'm going to go get my sheet pan. Do not worry, this batter is supposed to be really loose and runny. Oh my gracious, it smells so good. And you want to try to get it evenly across the pan. You do not want any gapes, any holes. You want to try to get it as even as possible. Oh my gracious. And you want to make sure you tap it a couple of times so there's no air bubbles. Now, you're going to bake this in your oven for 12 to 15 minutes until done. It don't take long, and I'll bring you back as soon as it's done. It turned out beautiful, thankfully. Okay, now I'm going to let it rest for 5 minutes. Then we're going to come back and we got to get busy and we're going to have to move a little fast. So I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. Alright, it's been 5 minutes. Now it's the fun part. Now, I always use a tea towel or a cotton thin towel. I don't have any. So we're going to have to improvise. For now, you want to dust this very well with powdered sugar. Yes, I know, folks. It's the holidays. We're supposed to have wonderful, delightful desserts and enjoy ourselves. Because traditionally, we put on weight during the winter to survive the cold winter months. Alright, you're going to want just a little bit longer piece of parchment paper. Oh my gracious, it worked. A while ago, my heart was happy. I looked out the front door and there was a Carolina wren. I have missed them so much. Okay, old trick here. Put another same size baking pan on top. Be careful, do not burn yourselves. Hold it firmly and flip. Ha ha. Okay, very carefully peel off the parchment paper that was in the bottom of your pan. Do it gently because you don't want to rip your cake at all. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, I wish y'all could smell this. Ha ha. Okay. This is a cooled cake sheet that you put on top and gently slide it off. Just like that. Whew, something working. It rose very nicely. Now, your Swiss roll jelly roll cake will not be real thick. You do not want it thick. Now you want to work while it's still hot. Yes, more powdered sugar. You betcha. There's a reason behind this. And you want to work while your cake is, oh, come on now. You want to work while your cake is still hot. Alright, that should be plenty. Fold your parchment paper in. Work slowly and gently because you do not want any cracks. This is where you're training the cake to be rolled up. Try not to mush it. Try to get good, even roll. And believe me, it's hot, so do not burn yourself. Look at that, perfect. That's what you want to see. Okay, you can wrap it in plastic wrap if you want to. I prefer to wrap it in a towel. I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it completely cool. I got the hiccups. I done got too excited. I am so proud of this cake. And let me tell you, it smells amazing in the house. It smells like gingerbread being baked. Alright. What I'm going to do is wrap it in a towel. And you want to be as gentle as possible because you do not want it to come loose like that. That's the last thing you want to see. Because you want to let this cake cool while rolled up. So when we go to fill it, it will unroll and re-roll back out with, or back up with no problems. You might have to be a little firm with it. This is why I prefer using a tea towel to do this, because it's so much better. And you're going to want to close your ends. Now, if you wanted to, you could go on and wrap it in plastic wrap and aluminum foil and freeze it for later use. Or you can wait and fill it and then freeze it. This cake can be made ahead of time to save you time. So I'm going to put this cake to where it can cool, and we'll be back here in just a bit to make the filling. Alright, the cake has been cooling for a little over an hour. It's getting close to being done. So I want to make my filling. Homemade cream cheese, if you have it, or store-bought. 8 ounces of cream cheese. My homemade chocolate apple butter. Oh, you want your cream cheese at room temperature. And you're going to mix them both together very well. Now you do not want your filling gooey. You want it to be a little, still spreadable, but a little bit thicker. Alright, be right back. I had to go get me a tasting spoon. Oh, that's so good. I think it needs a little more chocolate apple butter, because you want to make sure that you taste the cream cheese and the apple butter. Go on. Nat wants to get in on it. Oh, you can taste both. Now I'm going to add a little bit of powdered sugar to thicken it up some more. Yeah, I just broke my sifter. Yep, something else for me to fix. If I can fix it. That's why I like the side sifters where you turn it. They actually last longer. And you don't want it ungodly sweet, but you want it to thicken up and be somewhat sweet. And of course, You can also always put it back in the fridge. Whew. It's like I'm back down at Cafe Du Monde. All the powdered sugar flying around. Yep, I'm going to put this back in the fridge so it can solidify some. Because it's hot in here since I've had the oven on. Perfect. Now, of course, you adjust it to the sweetness that you want. And if you don't have the chocolate apple butter, you can still use just regular apple butter. That chocolate apple butter just adds a little more kick to it. A more deep, rich flavor. And I'll have the link for my video for how to make your chocolate apple butter. Once the cake is ready to be filled, I'll bring y'all back. It's the moment of truth. It's time to put the filling in cake and let's get busy, y'all. Cake is nice and cold. Let's unwrap it. Now, unfortunately, I got a little happy with the chocolate apple butter. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Go slow so it doesn't crack. Now, you're going to want your frosting or filling to be thicker than what I have here. I got a little happy with the chocolate apple butter, and it shows. You want it to be just like a frosting, a whole lot thicker. But you know what? We're still going to eat it. I've got some coffee ready to go. Little chunks of cream cheese. A few little chunks of powdered sugar, but mostly cream cheese. So you'll get little flavor bites of cream cheese in it. And wished the filling was a little thicker. So be careful on how much apple butter or chocolate apple butter you use. Now this is the messy part. Yeah, it's going to make a mess because it's too thin. Uh-oh. This is another thing you have to watch out for. Make sure you roll it evenly. It's going to come out both sides. This is why you want a thick frosting. Man, I'm just making a complete mess. And of course, if you chill the cake before you serve it, this'll thicken back up. Not too bad on that side. Just gonna go on and roll it and not even worry about it, because it's still gonna be delicious. And we've got some leftover, might as well call it icing. But you know what? It's still gonna be delicious. More aggravating than anything. I have a plate that's almost big enough for it. Almost big enough. Not quite the way I wanted it to turn out, but you know what? Still gonna eat it. Now, if you wanted to, not that it really needs it, but you can dust it with a little more powdered sugar because it's supposed to look like snow around it. So, I'm gonna go get Junior took care of, and I'll be right back. Okay, Junior's got his piece. I'm fixing to have mine. There we go. You can kind of see the layers in there. But you definitely want to make sure that your icing or frosting for inside is a lot thicker than what happened. This is what happens when you get happy with the chocolate apple butter. Regardless, it's still going to be delicious, and we're going to enjoy the daylights out of it. It might not be as pretty as I wanted it to, but you know what? It's homemade and it's still going to be delicious. So, I've been looking forward to this. Mmm. Oh my God, that's good. I have so missed this cake. I don't care how many mistakes was made, how nothing wanted to work out. You know what? I still have one amazing ginger roll cake with chocolate apple butter, cream cheese filling. Mmm. Oh my God. Oh, that is so good. Oh, it's so good, y'all. And this just goes to prove to you, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Or a lot of it's not mistakes, but when monkey wrenches are thrown at you left and right, you keep pushing through and you do what you can. Make it happen. The cake turned out perfect, even though the eggs would not whip. The the center filling is delicious, even though I used too much chocolate apple butter. You know what? Me and Junior's still going to enjoy this. Just remember, use either a hand blender or a hand mixer or a tabletop mixer to whip your eggs. And definitely make sure you back away from using a whole lot of apple butter. But all in all, this cake is amazing. Junior's in there enjoying the daylights out of it. And I hope you'll get to make this cake, even though it turned out the way I wanted it to flavor wise. Just a lot of monkey wrenches, but they kept pushing forward. Everyone, take care. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a hot mess, but it just proves I'm human and I keep going, pushing through whatever's thrown my way. Continue to stock up your pantry with foods that will nourish and sustain you, medicinals that will heal you, protection of all kinds, and the bare essentials to survive on. I'm fixing to go enjoy this cake, even though, yeah, it was a hot mess. It's absolutely delicious. The gingerbread's coming through good and strong. And that chocolate apple butter mixed with the cream cheese. Oh my gracious, y'all. I look forward to seeing y'all in my next video. I'm in a happy place right now. Everyone take care and may you each be blessed. Hoot hoot. Love y'all and I'll see you soon.